Okay, good day, everybody. Welcome to today's class. Today, we're going to be completing our modified session, and we're going to be doing a little bit of practicals. So today, I don't think this class will take as much time as it used to. It depends on when we're done with our practicals and maybe whatever questions you may be having after the class, after the session. So for today, we'll be producing something like this. If not entirely like this, but we're producing something that looks like this building and a little bit of what's inside. So before we do that, I will quickly have to dimension this building so we can actually reproduce them. I'll just go to my dimension tool. Don't worry, we'll talk about this from our next class and how to annotate your drawings. So I already have this one here. The length between these 2 points. So now I want this other one. So I'll just get that. I'll pick this endpoint and pick the next endpoint, which is this one right here. And then we're good. So if you notice, it's a square, 3,600 by 3,600, like so, as you can see. So now I need to know the dimension of the wall. This is the wall. I need to know the dimension of the wall. So I will just pick these points, pick these other points, and go up like so. And I notice it's not correct. Let me see. We'll go again. Pick this endpoint. Pick this other endpoint. And go up. So now I see it's correct. So I need some other thing. I need to know the dimension of the window units. Okay, so I come here, I pick this point. I come here, I pick these points. Okay, so we have that. So this window is equal to this other window. So let me just dimension it. I pick this point. I don't even pick the first point. I'll have to pick this point and then pick this second point. This other end point right there. I don't know what's happening there. Okay, so we have that. Now I need to know the dimension of my door. And there was a trick I used here. I'll also show you how I did that. And to this point, you can see is 1,200. And yes, we're good. Yes, we have that. We're good. But I don't like it because it's not too visible. So I'm just going to go to my dimension style, and increase the fit. I want to increase the fit of my dimension. I want it to the scale of my dimension. So I'll go to modify. I'll go down to fit and then increase this to 30. Then I go OK. And I do set current, and then I close. So it's a little bit clear now. I think we can see better. So if you saw that, please use the chat box. Say yes. Hello, Atosin, you're welcome. This is the chat box. Say yes. Before we start, I'm ready. I'm ready to start. Okay. Okay, Cheesy, Rafael John, and the other person. Sorry. Okay, so we're starting now. Now, for us to create this building, we have to be technical here. You know, if you want to draw something, you need a known point to start from. where you're comfortable with, and then you progress to the point that seems like it's really unknown. But the truth is, if you start from the known, you will actually get clues on the unknown. So which is the known here? You can see the known is a box inside of this building, which is that square that is 36 by 36, 3,600 by 3,600. So I'm going to start there, and I'm going to use the rectangle tool to do that. So I pick on any point. It doesn't have to be any special point. I just pick on any point and I draw. And you can see, because my dynamic input is on, you can see two boxes there. One currently saying 3673 and the other one 4405. So that will aid you input the dimensions to the particular object you want to draw. So I'm going to do 36 by 36. How did I achieve that 36 by 36? To achieve that, after inputting the first one, I use the tab key on my keyboard to switch. I use the tab key to switch between the input boxes. Okay, so now once I get that, you see both of them are locked because you can see a padlock sign there. So that's where you say, okay, just press enter and you have it. You have a rectangle of dimension 3,600 by 3,600. Now we've gotten that one. How do we get the other part? This other part to indicate that there is a wall in between. You notice here is 225 units. That means I am going to offset this inside this internal object or geometry by 225 to get the next one to indicate that, okay, there is a wall actually. How do I do that? There's a command in AutoCAD called offset. You can see it creates parallel lines. So with this offset, I can create parallel lines. And how do I do that? I just highlight the object I want, and I go to the offset command right here, click on offset, and then it will ask me for offset distance. What is simply asking me, okay, to what extent do you want this your object to be offsetted? To what extent? Now I will have to impute that. And according to what we have here, we have 225. 225 is from here to this point. So I want to make this line, I want to offset this object, this geometry inside by 225 to get this other object. And that will help us indicate that there is a wall there. So I'm just going to type 225, enter. And then it asks me the direction. So I have to choose the direction I want. I can choose it to be internal, but for this building, I want it to be external, so it will be going out. Because if it comes in internal, then the house will be reduced, like the size of the house will be reduced, and I don't want that, so I'll take it out and drop it there. Now let me talk a little bit about the offset command before we proceed. Let's say we have something like this, a line. I will have to turn on orthogonal restriction so I can create my line. I'll turn on orthogonal restriction and I'll create a line like this. And let's say you want to duplicate this line. You want to create a copy parallel to this line. How do you do that? You can use the offset command. You can use the copy here. You can use the copy command. And also you can use the offset command. The offset gives you a precise parallel line also, just like the copy command. But the offset can be used extensively for other scenarios. So now, once you click on offset, it will tell you to specify offset distance. Now you impute the offset distance. Let's say in this case 500, enter. Because I selected the offset first before highlighting the object, it is asking me to select the object I want to offset. So I'll select this object. And now it's asking me to the direction. It's asking me for the direction to which I want to offset this particular geometry. So I can choose anywhere I want, up or down, since I'm trying to create a parallel line. So I can just go down and then click to drop. Now, before I click, if I click on exit, it will take me off the command. The next one is multiple. What this one does is that if I click on multiple and then click on one, just click on this opposite direction here, it will create one and give me an opportunity to create another. So it will go like that, like that, like that, until I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. And I can come back and say, okay, I want to continue here and continue like so, until I'm comfortable. Then if I'm comfortable, I just hit the enter key on my keyboard, and you see it there. Now you see the cursor still has the command active. That means if I want to continue offset, I can just click on any line to continue, and click on this object here to continue offset. Select objects to offset. I can select on this object to continue offset. So you see, like so, I can just continue and then be going that way, continue, or I come back down and continue my offsets. You get, and continue till I'm tired. So if you understand this, please use the chat box, say yes. If you understand this, please use the chat box, say yes. If you understand this offset tool, please use the chat box, okay? Okay. Wow, that's a good one. So now I can continue. So having said that, I will just delete this and draw it again. Click on your rectangle tool, select your first point or your first corner point. Now, with the head of dynamic input system, I can input 3600 by 3600 using my tab key to switch between those two the two boxes. And then once I'm satisfied, I just hit enter to activate it. And then we see we have our nice square. After that, I go for offset. I select the offset distance, which is 225, enter. Then I select the object I want to offset, in this case, this object. And then I select the opposite corner to create a nice parallel object. So that is it. And enter to go off that command. So now we have this. The next thing we want to do is we want to create the windows. Like we have like this and here. If you notice, this window is not as this one, maybe because it's closed. Yes. And then we can make that open up. No, just leave it for now. Let's go over to this one. We want to make windows. And the windows will be around here and up here. Just like we have here, right here and right here. Remember, we started with this and we've gotten the offset to indicate the wall. And then now we need windows. How do I do that? I just go to line 2, select line command. Now I have to draw a line from the midpoint of this object right here. So I'll select this one and draw to the next midpoint and enter. Once I click to drop and then enter it. Now, if you notice here, we saw that this window is, the dimension of this window is 750 units. So for us to get 750 units from this midpoint, as you may have guessed, I need to offset it. And I will offset it by half of its dimension to the y-axis upward and downwards. If you understand what I just said, please use the chat box because I feel someone will be confused. I'll explain with this, but if you understand it, please use the chat box, say yes. That I need to offset it upwards and I need to offset it downwards. Okay, John Paul does not. Okay, so now let me explain. What I mean is that the unit here is 750, and the 750 is not from the midpoint to any direction. So we need to divide it by 2 in order to get the units with which we are going to offset it upwards and downwards. So that's what I said, by offsetting half of 750 upwards and half of 750 downwards. So for us to get 750 upwards and 750 downwards, sorry, for us to get a total number of 750, what we need to do is we need to divide 750 by 2, which will give us about 325. Yes, 325. So now I need to offset this line 325 upwards and 325 downwards to get that total number of 750. I'll just go to my offset 325. Come here, select this line, make it multiple, then I place it downwards, and then I take it upwards. So I'm done. Now let's measure this line to be sure we know what we are doing. So I come here, 325, 325. That's not what I want. Anyway, yes, 325, 325. I will do. I come here also, click on this point, this endpoint, and the other endpoint. No. 3, 2, it did not give us 750. 375, yes, John Paul, you're correct. It should be 375, not 325. So we're going to repeat that. 375. Select the line we want to offset and select the option which is multiple and go 375 upwards, 375 downwards, and we have it right there. So now we have our window. We've indicated where we want to create our window. So now it's time to create window. How do I do that? I just come, like you may have noticed, I want it to look exactly like this. So I will have to do some little things. Just click here and drop here, like so. And I'll do some little offsetting also. And then click on offset again. This time I'll go 50. I'll come here, select this way. I want it to be like that. Then the next one, I want it to go by 25 from this line, 25. Then now it's time for me to do a little bit of housekeeping. What do I mean? I want to trim off some of these things to show the geometries I want. Of course, you know how to trim. Click on your trim, enter to select all, and then trim this part. Then also trim this part. So we have that. I made a mistake, a silly one at that. I'll just come here to extend it. Hold down Shift, extend that line. Continue to the next line, holding down Shift. Okay, so we have it, and then I can trim off these parts. So we have that. If you understand up to this point, please use the chat box. If you're following up, please type I follow. If you're following up, please type I follow. If I should repeat, okay, Cheesy is following. Only Cheesy. Okay. Two people alone. I'll just repeat this over here. Oh, Fafre John, you don't. I'll repeat it here, so follow me as I repeat. I select this midpoint and click to drop it at this other midpoint. Create the partition line with which I'm going to offset to get the window. So now I'll click on offset. I'll click on offset 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'll have to indicate the offset distance. After clicking offset, I'll have to indicate the offset distance. How do I do that? I impute the offset distance of 375. because Jean Paul calculated it for us, 375, and I press enter to activate it. Then I select on the line I want to offset. In this case, this is the line I want to offset. I select on this line, and I select the direction of the offset. If I want it to go to the left and the right, I can select which of them. But I will first of all select multiple. So once I drop one, I can drop the second one. I go here to drop the first one, then I come to this other side to drop the second one, and enter to activate it. We have like so. If you understand to this point, please use the chat box. Say yes. So, John, you understand to this point, right? Okay. Now you understand to this point. Now let's continue. So after doing that, we need to make it look like we have here. We need to make it look like we have here, like as we have seen. So to make it look like we have here, to make it look like what we have here now, we'll have to create lines. How do we do that? We just go to simply using the line tool. Simply by using the line tool, select the center of this line, set it right here, and go to this other line and click to drop it, then enter to go off that command. Now we need to also offset the lines to make it look like so. I did 50 and then I did 25. That is half of 50. So now I'll go to the offset tool and I select 50. Sorry, I do 50. Enter. Now I select what I want to offset. In this case, this line here, I want to offset this line. I select it and I go upwards. But before that, I have to click on the multiple. So it will continue like you must have guessed. Up, and then the second one, since we have a dynamic input on, I can just input 25 in this box and enter. Excuse me, there's an error there. So I will undo that one. Okay, and then just enter to end this command. There's an error there. I'll go back again to offset. And then this time I will input 25 in this box. Select on this line and offset like so. Then enter to go off that command. So now I need to do a little bit of housekeeping. Before I do housekeeping, Fafure John, do you understand up to this point? Okay, somebody did not understand. Yeah, Fafure John, yeah. Do you understand up to this point? Okay, now let's continue. Trim, and I will trim off some geometry. I'll just enter to select all, and I do it like this. Okay, and then I go to the next one, like so. We have it. Enter to go off the command, and then I come here to erase this line. I just use my delete button, and we have it like so. So if you understand up to this point, of course, which I believe all of us did, please use the chat box. Say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. We're going over to creating the doors. Okay, so we're good. Now for creating the door, let's look at it, at what we want to create. We want to create something like this. Now you can see the dimension of this door is 1,200, but I'm going to divide it into two, like we have so. So the 1,200, the length between this point and this point is the same as the length between this point and this point, because it's a door, of course. When you close it, it will be horizontally aligned like this to this point. And then if you open it, it swings right up to this particular point here. If you understand what I just said, please say yes. You understand what I just said, please say yes. Okay, Chizamadi understands. Yes. John, okay. What I'm trying to say is that this is a door. And this place from this point to this end point is equals to from this point to this endpoint. That is what I'm trying to say. Because if you close the door now, it will just come here and lock, and you see it's close to this point. But since the door is open, it swings all the way up to this point, and you're seeing this. So imagine this line here is the door of this building. So that's what I was trying to say. Okay, two people doesn't understand. So if you understand now with this explanation, please use the chat box, say yes. Okay. Oluwatosin, please, do you understand now? Okay, so now we proceed. So now, since we have that, we're going to divide this door into two. Like, we have one here. We have one here that should be indicated here, but it isn't. And I don't know why. Okay, yes, because I did not trim it properly. That's my fault. Just going to do this, and then trim off this part. I think that's wrong. I think there's something wrong somewhere, which I am going to find out. Okay, no, it's not wrong. It's me actually not paying attention to what I should. I'm going to do this and clean this and clean this. Same thing here. Same thing here. Then I'm going to highlight these ones and delete because there shouldn't be a window across somebody's house. So two people won't be picking on each other. And shift. We drop this and we're good. Okay, now, so we have the door displayed properly. And we can see that. I'll come here because I want to delete a geometry right there. I'll just do this and delete that. Okay, so we have it now, looking nice. So now we need this door to be here. I don't want to copy it. I want to recreate it. So how do I do that? It's simple. Since it's 1,200, and like I said, I want to divide it into two. Like you see, the longer part and the shorter part. So I'll have to measure one of them. So I will get the measurement of what I want. I come here, select distance, because I want to measure distance. And I measure this distance from this point to this point. You can see it's 300. So I've gotten that part, 300. So 1,002 minus 300. So we get, okay. Now let's go here and start to construct the door. From the center, I'll draw a line like I did for the window to this other center and click to drop, then enter. So we have it like so. Now I will have to offset both left and right, and both of the offsets will be equal to 1,200. Now for me to get that, I'll need to divide it by 2, like I did for the window, which will give us 600. So I'll go to offset, impute my offset distance, which in this case is 600. Now I select offset line or object or offset, and then I select on multiple. So it will go this way by 600 and go this way by 600, and then enter to go off the command. So we have it nice like so. Now I want to indicate where the first door would stop. This first door right here, the stopping point of the first door, I want to indicate that. So I will need to offset from, this window is facing like this, so I'll need to offset from this side by 300. So I'll come here, highlight this because that's what I want to offset. I click on offset, and this time I impute 300. I'll come this way. So we have it right there. So now I can delete this line. If you understand what I just did, please use the chat box. If you understand up to this point, please use the chat box. Okay, Fafo John understands. Okay. Only 2 people. If you don't understand, also signify, please. Okay, I think we can continue. So now I want to get John Paul does not. John Paul, I'm trying to create this door. I'm trying to create this door. As you can see, from here to here, the total length is 1,200. And after getting the 1,200, which is what I did, by starting from the center, offsetting 600 both to the left and the right, both to the left 600 and to the right 600. That was how I got the 1,200 that I had then. So I can remove this one. You know that the full length here is 1,200. The full length here is 1,200. If you understand, John Paul, please say yes as I continue. Okay. Now, for me to get this other part, because I said I would divide this door into 2. We have a smaller door, like you have your major entrance door. Now, your major entrance door, you see this smaller part of the door. It's a little bit small, as just like this. So, and we have the smaller part and we have the bigger part. So now this smaller part is equals to 300 units, like we measured and we got the measurement. This smaller part is equals to 300 units. That means this bigger part will be equals to 900. Yeah? So now we're going to draw that geometry. We're going to construct that. And I said you can just simply do that and indicate the endpoint by just offsetting this line by 300 to your right. So we have that point there. If you understand to this point now, I just did, please say yes. Okay, so while I continue. Okay, so now for me to get this line that goes upward from here, and it's equals to 300. So I'll just come here and start my drawing from here, from this endpoints right here, and go upward by 300 units. Enter. Enter to go off the command. So we have that part, which is this part right here. Now I need this other door also, and it's equals to 900. How do I do that? I come here, select the line tool, click on this part, upward by 900. Enter. Enter to go off the command. Now there are things I need to do to get these curves. Yes, to get these nice curves as you see them. So you must have guessed, yes, I need to use the arc tool or the arc command. So now this is when I activate the arc, and there's this arc I love using, like I told you before now, while I was constructing the arc. It's the start end direction arc tool. This is it. So once I click on this, it will help me achieve this perfectly. So I'll come here, start, I'll come here, end, and then direction. I've gotten the first direction. Enter to repeat command. And I come here, which is the start point. I come this other place also. This same point right here, the end point. Okay, this is, and then I choose my direction. There is a problem. I come here, let me repeat it again, start end direction. I click on my start points. which was this point here. I click on my endpoint, which is this point, and then my direction, which is the point. And then we have that. So now we have to do a little bit of housekeeping to make it clean. I'll delete this line, I don't need it. And I need to do a little bit of trimming. I go to the trim tool, like we all know how to use it, enter to select all. And then I trim this line and this line, and then I also trim this line right here. So if we understand up to this point, please use the chat box, say yes. If you understand up to this point, please use the chat box, say yes. Okay, Fafure John understands. Cheesy does. Only 2 people. If you don't, say I don't. Okay, Omorishola, yeah? You understand? If you do not understand, please indicate. Oh, wow. Okay, we'll continue then. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 person, Oluwatosin. Okay, so, well, so we continue. Now we've gotten this door. Now I want to align it to the left, like so. Sorry, to the right, like so. How do I do that? I told us about using the stretch tool, and we're going to put that into practice right now. So now with the stretch tool, like I said, you can actually stretch objects. And I gave an illustration of a rubber band. So if you're dragging the rubber band from one side, you need to select where you're holding it from and dragging to expand it. So now I'm going to select the stretch tool. And while it's asking me to select objects, I'm not just going to click to select, but I'm going to use the selection window, the green selection window, to highlight where I want to start my stretch from and where I want to end my stretch. So I'll just click and then drag to, I click, I release, and then I drag to select the object like so, and enter. Now it's asking me to select base point. I can select anywhere on the screen to be my base point. So I decide to select here and drag like so. And I'll keep it this way. Okay. So we can see how it went. If you understand this, please use the chat box. If you understand this, please use the chat box. Say yes, 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 yes. You do understand. Okay. So everybody understands, I believe. Oh, only 1 person, apart from John. Okay, Cheesy does. Okay, now, if you don't understand, you can also say, no, I don't. Okay, now we're going to copy some of these items into this house. So since we know we just built a new house now where we are managing costs, so we have to buy or borrow some things from our previous home. So I'm going to borrow this couch. I'm going to borrow this couch right here. I'm going to copy this. Pick point, I'll just pick here. Or this time, because I'm dropping it somewhere in the house that looks the same, I can just pick this point here as my pick point. And then if I drop it at this pick point, it will drop exactly at that position. So you see, like we have like so. And the next one, I'm going to select all these items together. And then I copy. Pick points, I will select a known point as my pick point, which is this point. So if I drop it at that particular point here, it will fix, no, those items are not supposed to be selected from that house because they don't look the same. I'll select these ones, yes. And I'll use copy. Pick points, I will just select this corner as my pick point. So if I drop it here, it will drop the items exactly the same position. So you also my floor there. So now there is something I did that was wrong by selecting this from the wrong house, which was this house right here. So I'm going to delete that. And I am going to select this other one. And I'll copy it. Selecting a known pick point, which is the base. And then dropping it at that same known base right here to drop. Yes. So do we understand this? I just reproduce this building. Do we understand this? Do we understand this so far before we proceed? Okay. Yes, we do understand. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to talk about how I created this couch, how they were created using simple shapes. So I just used my rectangle tool. I just did something like this to create a square. And yeah, something like that. So I'll just go 700 by 700, enter, and I got a perfect square. And as you may have guessed, I did offset on this square. So I just go offset. I use 150 and select what I want to offset. It's too much. 150 is too much. So I'm just going to input 100 in that box. Enter. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm going to use a command that we have here that we've not really used. So you see this one here, it's called explode. What it does is that it separates all the joint elements or the joint lines to explode them and give us segregated line. Like, you know, the difference between line and polyline. As this rectangle is, it is being seen as a polyline. So we are going to convert it to line. How do we do that? We just explode it. So I highlight all and then click on the explode command. And there we go, we have it. We have our segment of lines, as you can see. Okay, John Paul, you're complaining about the door area. Well, it's just a practical. We can still adjust that if you want. We can still adjust it, highlighting these parts to what we want. And let me see this other one. Why you were saying it looks a bit off. Okay, so I'll just stretch and then select my base point. Any point can be my base point. And then I stretch to where I want it to be stretched, like so. And then I click to release. And then we have it like so. If you're satisfied, jump on, please use the chat section. If I satisfied you, I think something, yeah. Yes, we're good. John Paul, you've not responded. If I satisfied you, please use the chat box. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to trim, extend this line, extend this line to this place, extend this line to this place. No, it wasn't. And then I'm going to trim this part. I'm going to also trim this part. And I'm going to delete this part. Then I'm going to use something called the arc tool. I'm going to use the arc tool to make this curve right here. Alternatively, you can decide to use 2-point circle and then do a little bit of half skip, just like this. Come here, select your first point, select your second point, and you repeat the same process here. Select your first point, select your second point. No, that's not right. Come here, select 2-point circle, select your first point, select your second point. So now we can trim this off. Before we trim, yeah, let's just trim first. Select here, select here. I'll leave the center line. I will explain why. Select here, select here. Okay, now for the center line, we need to use it to construct this chair as you see it like so. How do we do that? We move it a bit downwards. You can just click on the center node to move it downward a bit, just like so. No, a little bit, like so. A little bit, like so. Yeah. So now we're going to make this a curve. How do we do that? We can decide to go further and be doing plenty things, but that's not why we're here. We're just going to use something called start end radius. The arc, yes. We use this line as a reference point. Just come, start, come here, and then indicate the radius we want. Oh God, it's going the other direction. Click on this. Start. And radius. I don't want it to be too bogus, just to indicate what I want it to indicate. And I drop like so. If I delete this, I see we have a nice curve, but it's not, it does not look like the other one. We'll adjust it a little. Click on the other one. This time it should be smaller. It starts, its end, and then we just, I always do this thing. Okay, this time it should be smaller, like so, and I can delete this. And then I'll have to stretch this one a little bit down. Stretch down. Oops. Okay, this one will be good. So that is it. And I need to stretch this off. Why I'm repeating the stretch, so you understand a little bit about what the stretch does. So we have that. Now we can highlight and then click on group to group it. Now we have that. If you understand this, it took a long while for me to ask this question. If you understand this, please use the chat box, say yes. Wow. John Paul, you did not even wait for me to ask the question and you answered. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, sadly, Omorisha Light is not on this call. I think she's having network issues. So now we did this, and then let me copy this out to explain how I did this other long account. I'll just copy this and make it. Since I've done the first one, it will be very easy to do the second one. How did I do that? I just come to stretch. I light it to the point of stretch. Enter. Select my base point, and then I stretch until I was satisfied. And let's say like this, or like so. And I have a bigger couch. So you see, it's not really a big deal. So we have that. Of course, you already know how to do this one. This one is just offset. Create a rectangle, offset it. And this one was circle and then some splines. Spline, yeah, okay, yeah. Somebody must be asking about spline right now. So the spline tool is under the home tab, drop panel, drop down of the drop panel, you see something like spline. You have spline fits and spline CV. The CV there is control vertices. This one creates spline with some control vertices, while this one just creates the spline without control vertices. So the first one, you can just create objects like this, and then let me turn off orthogonal restriction, so I can do this. You see, we have that, and then we have the other one that creates spline with control vertices. So now this one with control vertices, if you highlight it, you will see some control vertices like the name implies. But this other one does not have control vertices. You see? So now with the control vertices, you can actually adjust the way you want the curves to be, like so. Click on it, adjust it. Maybe you get a mountain and a valley. Okay. So if you understand up to this point, please use the chat box, say yes. We're already rounding off. And the next session will be very, 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 very quick. If you understand up to this point, please say yes, use the chat box. Okay, 18, 18. And this is 19. 1 minute off. Do you understand how to use this spline? I just explained that. If you do, please use the chat box. Half region, yes. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to do some things. Okay, Edidion, you're welcome. I'm going to do some things now with this guy we just created. Oluwatosin, you not responded. I like carrying everybody along as I'm doing this thing because we are not much, so I like everybody to be on the same page as we progress. Oluwatosin, are you on this call? We're going to the next item for the day. Please, are you on this call? If you are, I hope you understand. So now the next one I want to talk about, you did not respond, that's why I'm asking. The next one I want to talk about is the array, like what we have here. That's what I want to talk about next. And it's a little bit tricky, so we need to be very sure we are all on the same page before we go there. And we need to be sure that everyone is on the same page as we go there too. So can we go? Can we continue? If yes, say yes. Use the chat box. Okay. Now for array, we have like we may know what an array is, display of objects. So it's not much different from what we have here in AutoCAD. It's just simply displaying objects according to some parameters that you would define. So for you to array these objects, like we have here, you can use different ways to access the array command. You can simply come to this modify tool bar and modify tool panel and click on this array drop down. You see different types of array. We have polar array, we have path array, we have array, rectangular array, and you can access the array command with this too. And there's also another way to array, and it's called array classic. How do you do that? You just simply type array classic. Not array rectangle, we need array classic. See it here. Array classic. Now, if you click on array classic, it will show you a dialog box or a dialog menu. And then you can choose how you want to do your array. So now, first of all, you need to select the kind of array you want. If you want it rectangular or you want it polar. Polar is circular, like you may have seen. Polar is circular. So we're going to choose rectangular first for this first example. And then you need to select the object you want to array. You remember I did not highlight the object before doing the array classic command. So I'll need to select the object. In this case, I'll select this object. Once I click, it comes back. And if I press enter, it brings back this dialog menu. So you can see like so, I selected the object and it's telling me I selected 9 objects. Of course, I selected 9 objects because if you check in this group right here and you count the number of items we have in this group, it's equal to 9. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. The arcs are 3 in number and the lines, we have 6 lines. So it's correct. Now we continue. Now it's asking you for the number of rows and columns according to what you want to array. If you can see, it's in the first quadrant right here. So you want it to be, I want the rows to be 7. I want the columns to be 5. 5 rows, 7 rows, 5 columns. 7 row, 5 column, orbit, awesome. Wow, I remember that. Okay, now the offset distance. This one is asking between the first object and the second object. How much distance do you want between them? That's what it's asking you here. Offset distance. Column offset. This is for the row. This is for the column. Now, if you don't know the distance, like if you cannot really tell the distance you want, and you want to actually indicate by maybe clicking and dragging or drawing on your model space, you can actually click on this to pick. So I click on this. I want it to be this long for the row. I want it to come from here to, I'll turn on my orthogonal restriction to get a straight line. I want it to come from that point to this point as my first offset distance. So to calculate it and keep all of them like so. That is it for the row. Offset distance. Then now I want the column offset distance also. How do I do that? No, the row, I made a mistake actually. The row distance should be like this. And I'll make it from this point upwards because it's row, you know, it's horizontal distance. So I have to keep it like this. Okay, let me keep it this way, 616. So that is it. Now, for the column offset distance and direction, I'll have to come here, select this. That is the column, vertical members. They're called vertical members. So, okay, now this way. I want it to be this far apart from each other. So what I just did is I just set my vertical and horizontal distances. So now angle of array, I don't want them to be angular. I just want them to be on this 0 degree. So I will leave it that way. So I come here and preview it. Whoa, this is what I got. You can see the vertical and horizontal distance wasn't really that much, because if you measure the height from here to here, it's even more than what I did. So I specify, okay, read here, specify the distance between columns, second point, or pick escape to return to the dialog box. So I'm going to click on it. I'm just going to tap escape to go back here. And then I'm going to increase this by 2. I'll do 1,000. Let me just do 1,200. And here I do 1,300. And I preview. So you see we have nice array right there. We have this, and it's nice. Please, if you understand up to this point, or if you're confused, use the chat box. Say yes, I understand, or no, I don't. Okay, so we all understand. We can continue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 3 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jesus says yes. Okay, so now we can proceed. So pick or press escape to return to the dialog menu. So if I want to accept this, I can just simply right click. If I right click or I use enter on my keyboard, it will accept this array for me. So I'll just use escape to go back to the dialog box to explain some other things before I say okay. So now, since we've done the preview and we like what we saw, we can just click OK from here. And then if we click OK, we've accepted the array. And we have it like so. So you can see we arrayed these objects. The objects were arrayed and we have them like so. That is it for the rectangular array. So I'm going to copy this one out, create a polar array. Just going to copy it out like so. So now the same process, I'm going to array classic, select array classic. Now this time I'm going for polar array instead of rectangular array. Now you can see the interface here changed to suit what we want to do. So select objects. Of course, I'll have to select this object. Just highlight it. Enter to select. Now I need to set these parameters to suit what I want to do. Center point, I need to select a center point by which I want to array this object. Okay, now I click. I want the center point to be around here. So it means that that will be the center point, and then this object will be arrayed around or about that point I selected. So I'll just click here to be my center point. And then I'll choose total number of items. That is if I want to use this option. But if I don't, I can come to method and change the method. And say, okay, I don't want to use total number of items. Total number of angle rather. So I can decide to use angle to fill and angle between items. So it depends on what you want to achieve. You can choose any of these options. And then let's go to angle to fill and angle between items. I want it to fill 360, like I want it to spin round the 360. And the angle between items, if I choose 90, I will only have 4 objects. Yes, because you know, first object will be here 0 degrees, and then the next one will be at 90 degrees, and the next one will be at 180, and then 360. So I want it to be 45. And then you see a preview of that here. Hope you understand this option. Please, if you understand this option, use the chat box. Say yes. Okay. Okay, we continue. Everybody's on the same page. So now, for this, see this option is being checked. Rotate item as copied. What it means is that I can decide to keep the chair and it will just be like this. All of them will be facing up. But if I uncheck it rather, it will be like this, and all of them will be facing this way as it goes round. It will be facing one direction. But if I select rotate as copy, what it does is that it will be tilting the items as it is copying round about my center point. So I'll make a preview for you to understand what I just explained. So you see, this option actually tilts it. So you see, this was the first object, and then it goes round and round and round and round and round and round, tilts it until it gets the final one. I will use the escape button to go back to the dialog box, and then you see like so. So if I'm okay with what I want, you can just click OK to create that. Do you understand this other array method? If you understand the polar array method, please use the chat box, say yes. Okay, so we do understand. Yes, we do understand. Okay. Yes, we do understand. All right. So move. Going to move this a little bit to this point. Orthogonal restriction off. So be here. Now save, Control S, save. And that is it for the array. And okay, there was something I said I would talk about, the join tool. Let's say we have, lines like this, like this, like this, and close. And these lines are segregated. They are all segmented and they are separated from each other. Let's say you want to join these lines and you want to make them a single entity. You want to convert this line to a polyline. How do you do that? You just simply align the lines you want to join and make sure the corners are meeting each other. Make sure there's a meeting point between the two lines. And then you come to modify panel, drop it down, and then you click on join. Once you click on join, it automatically converts those objects that you highlighted. It converts them to polyline. Hope you understand this point. If you understand, please use the chat box, say yes. Okay, Path of Region understands. Edidion Celestine understands. The next person, please. No other person understands this. Chiziamadi does. John Paul. I've not heard from you for a while. The path array. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, now let's talk about path array. Let me create something. The path array is actually fun. I can't imagine I skipped that. Now let's do this. Let me create some spline. I'll use control vertices to create a path for my array to go through. I'll drop it there. Now I will copy this object, this right here. Let me just copy, and I'll drop it here. Okay, Control save, Control S actually. I don't like the one I copied. It's not sitting properly. It's facing down. I want it to be facing upwards. I want to copy this one. Stretch, copy, and drop it here. Okay. So now I have this object. I will just have to scale it a little bit for it to be more visible. And we all know how to scale, so I'll just highlight it. Highlight it, scale, base point, the midpoint, and then times 3. Uh-oh. No, that was not what I intended. I said times 3, not 0.3. Scale. You know, if you put any number less than 0, it reduces it, right? And if you put any number greater than, sorry, less than 1, it reduces it, and any number greater than 1 increases it. So I'm going to use 3. So that is it, we have it there. Now, for the path array, you select on the path array. And now you select the object you want to array. You select the object you want to array. I hear you. Select the object you want to array. In this case, this object. And you press enter. Now it's asking you to select path curve, like the path which you want to array this object you just selected. So now I'm going to select this path. And you see it to be arrayed like so. So with these settings, you can actually adjust the way it looks. First of all, number of items is determined by the length between or spacing between the items. So if I come here and change this thing to, let's say, 3,000, the number of items will, of course, reduce. No, it will increase, rather. So you see, it will go to 21. So let me use 5,000. It reduces. Like so. Hope you understand this. If you understand this, please use the chat box. Say yes. If you understand that part, use the chat box. Say yes. Okay, so jump on those. And of course, you're the one that asked the question, so be very attentive. Okay, now the next one is, if we had horizontal members, which we don't have, which are the rows, we would have adjusted this. Now, let's go to some other thing that I did not discuss with others. This associative. If I deassociate this, all this, let me just close it and explain that. Close. You see these array members. If I select one, all of them will be selected. You see, just like polyline. Yes, it is because it is associated. So we can turn it off. And that can only be done when you're creating it in the first place, but you cannot do that for now. So we'll just leave this. Meanwhile, you can adjust all these settings that are here, you can adjust it with this. Let's say I click on this and drag. It will increase and reduce the spacing accordingly. And then, of course, the space determines the number of items that are being arrayed. Do you understand this? If you understand this, please use the chat box, say yes. Okay, you can align items to the path, and you can say, no, I don't want to align these items to the path. Just like we have with rotate as copied. So you see, like so. Okay, so we have that. I can try to change the base points and say, no, I want my base points to start somewhere around here. And you see, it got scattered. So you can just be playing around and get your perfect fit, and then you're good to go. Okay, if you understand this, please use the chat box. If you have any question, please use the chat box. If you understand, simply type, I understand. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, you all understand. Well, okay, that will be the end of today's class. That will be the end of today's class. And I hope you actually got value from today's class. And I will appreciate your question. John Paul has a question. Okay, please type your question. Can you? Okay, John Paul, I will, the host, please, can you want to use your mic? Okay, ask to unmute. John Paul, okay. You can unmute your mic now.
Okay, good morning.
Welcome.
This array place, when you select, how do you get to the menu where you can now edit stuff on the array?
It will automatically go to the menu.
Okay.
But for this one, since these ones are not associated, they just see it as duplicates of the same object. So it won't go to the same menu because I use array classic. You understand? Because I use array classic, it won't go to the menu. But if I had created an array with the normal array that we have here, and anytime you set the object, it will go there. So let me just do an example. I'll just copy this one quickly. I'll copy this one out. Well, I'll just move it out. So okay, so we have array, rectangle. So you see, we have that, and since it's highlighted, you see, if I turn off this associative stuff, all this array will not be associated. They will be like these ones we've created here, these ones that we have here. So since it's on, and I click close, anytime I highlight it, it will go back to that menu, like so. Anytime I highlight it, let me highlight it again. I don't know, my system is okay. Anytime I highlight it like so, it will take us to that menu. Do you understand? Okay, having said that, and we all understand, this will be the end of today's class. Please, I will urge you all to visit our social media handles, like I always say. Please, please, please visit our social media handles, interact with them. And well, I won't really spoil it, but I would just advise you to visit there. Okay, let me spoil it. Hope the host won't penalize me. There are some benefits actually. But we won't get to know until we interact with those pages. And people are getting it privately. Some people, not all, actually. So it depends on the inputs that you get there. And of course, it's a way of appreciating these people for what they've done for us. So I'll advise us to actually go there and maybe, interact with their social media handles. Thank you very much for joining today's class. See you in the next. Okay, the host, you can actually end the meeting.